Did you know that each of the nine muses were associated with different aspects of art and science? Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video is all about the nine muses of ancient Greece, the goddesses of inspiration and creation in the arts and sciences. Don't forget, the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss out on any new uploads. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation and you can find us on Patreon, a brilliant site where you can support our work and receive exclusive benefits in return. Your support helps us create videos twice a week, so make sure to check it out via the pop-up in the top corner of the screen or via the Patreon link down below. The nine muses are the goddesses of song, dance, music, and poetry, and were among the most important deities of the ancient Greek pantheon as the source of inspiration for poets. The most common and widespread belief was that the nine muses were the daughters of the Olympian god Zeus and the Titan goddess of memory, Mnemosyne, which makes sense as the muses were also regarded as goddesses of knowledge, who retained the knowledge of all that had come to pass. They were born in Pieria at the base of Mount Olympus, and this is all detailed in the Orphic hymn to the Muses, which begins, "Daughters of Mnemosyne, daughters of thundering Zeus, Pierian muses, renowned and illustrious, many-shaped and beloved of the mortals you visit." Before there were nine muses, there were the three muses who were worshipped on Mount Helicon in Boeotia, while in Delphi, three muses were worshipped as daughters of Apollo, and in Athens, 8 muses were known. Although the earliest mention of the muses only has 3 rather than 9, they were already being associated with song and memory before their well-known number of 9 was established by the 8th century BCE poet Hesiod, who was the first to give the names of the 9 muses best known today. Despite their birthplace changing through history, Mount Helicon remained an important centre, with the 2 main cult sites for the muses being established there and at Pieria. As time went on, the 9 muses were each associated with a different kind of art or science, but were still collectively referred to as the Mnemosyne or muses. The 9 muses are Kalliope, the chief muse and responsible for epic poetry and rhetoric, and also known as the mother of the gifted lyre player Orpheus; Kleio, the goddess of history; Erato, the goddess of erotic poetry and singing; Ourania, the goddess of astronomy; Thaleia, the goddess of comedy; Melpomene, the goddess of tragedy; Euterpe, the goddess of lyric poetry; Polymnia, the goddess of religious hymns to the gods; and Terpsichore, the goddess of dance. In art, the 9 muses were depicted as beautiful women, sometimes with wings, and each muse became associated with certain objects and symbols that identified their particular talents, like a comedy mask for Thaleia and a tragedy mask for Melpomene, a double aulus or flute for Euterpe, a globe for Ourania, a lyre for Erato, and a scroll for Kleio. The 9 muses didn't really feature in too many myths, but they were still among some of the most important deities in ancient Greece, as they inspired writers and musicians to reach great artistic and intellectual heights. At the beginning of famous Greek works such as Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, and Hesiod's Theogony and Works and Days, among others, there is something known today as an invocation to the muse. Probably the most famous invocation to the muses comes at the beginning of the Iliad and goes, "Sing, goddess, the anger of Peleus' son Achilles, and its devastation, which put pains thousandfold upon the Achaeans." And at the beginning of Hesiod's Theogony, he begins, "From the muses of Helicon, let us begin our singing, that haunt Helicon's great and holy mountain, and dance on their soft feet round the violet dark spring, and the altar of the mighty son of Kronos." These poets are calling upon the muses of song, music, poetry, and also knowledge of all that has come to pass, to use them as a mouthpiece for the story they are about to tell. Hesiod even tells us that the Muses, as the daughters of the goddess of memory, were an aid against forgetfulness, considering that his works began in oral form. They may be the goddesses of pleasurable things like song and dance, but that doesn't mean that they could be messed with, especially when it came to their superiority of artistic skill. The 9 daughters of Pyrrhus foolishly tried to compete against the 9 muses in music, and they were turned into birds for their audacity. Then there was the Thracian musician Thamres, who was a son of the nymph Agriope. He challenged the muses to a music contest, and after coming second, which was ultimately inevitable, he was punished by losing his musical talent, his singing voice, and he was blinded. Stories like these encouraged respect for authority figures, represented by the deities, and the importance of knowing one's place and keeping to it. What are the figures from your culture comparable to the 9 muses? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos every Tuesday and Friday. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. If you like my sweater, you can find this design and a bunch more in our shop at worldhistory.store, or you can find a link for it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon with another video.